listening to the City World Radio Network, high-definition digital radio broadcasting from the city to the world. www.cityworldradio.com.
Chirp about it. Wanna know what's on your mind? Yeah. I'll chirp about it. Yeah. Wanna know what's on your mind? I'll chirp about it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a great show tonight. I say with the utmost humility.
Pat is not
you.
Here.
Pat is not here. The king chirper, Pat Sainville, is not here.
Pat's not here.
Marlene Villafane and myself, Ian Bamberger, are going to be filling in for this show, hosting Chirp About It.
Chirp About It. And I'm so glad to be here. We have our lovely guests here. Right here before us, we have our lovely Kat.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
And Niels Becker.
Hello, glad to be here.
And
nice to have you, man.
Jade, thank you. Our lovely engineer, Jade Zabrick. You're the best. Holding it down.
Wizard.
All right. So how's everybody doing on this hot day? We're all good? How you feeling?
I'm feeling sweaty, Marlene.
The cat's looking at me like, well, I'm trying.
I'm trying.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying, right? All right. So let's start with some New York City trivia. Okay,
Yeah.
New York
Good to
City
me.
trivia. Let's start
Please.
doing that. Okay. Now, it can cost almost $300,000 to operate a hot dog stand around Central Park.
What?
Yes, it can cost almost $300,000 to operate a hot dog stand around Central Park. And how much is it for someone to have a taxi? How much is that?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, this
It's
is a great
up
question.
there. It's up there. It's several hundred thousands for someone to be able to
Use a taxi.
Yes, a livery, a taxi driver to be able to have his own taxi. That's how much.
You know
it is.
something interesting?
It's expensive.
With Lyft and Uber, you don't have to pay that.
You live to New. See, that's it.
You know, it's the beginning, maybe the beginning of the end for that industry.
Oh,
I don't know.
man.
Is that to own your own taxi, or is it something related to like having a license for it?
I think it has something related.
Special license?
I think it's related to that.
Wow.
Yeah, believe so.
Oh my gosh,
No,
I
that's-
never
You
knew.
have to rent the car.
You have to, yeah.
Oh wow.
Taxis
For
a
a
new
taxi
Uber
driver, you have to rent the car
for
or own it.
or own it. Yeah,
It's terrible.
it really is. Wow. And it's
not
all changing very, very quickly. It is.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, a piece of news that is trivia I wanted to share. Manhattan. Let's talk about the word Manhattan, which is an old Lenape Indian word, Mannahatta.
Oh.
Can anybody guess what that means? Land of many
Hills.
hilly land, island of many hills. Mannahatta becomes Manhattan, and in 1664, New Amsterdam is renamed New York after the Duke of York. The brother of the king was King Charles II, 1664.
Very cool.
As a gift, gave him Manhattan and renamed it after his brother, the Duke of York, James.
Oh my gosh.
Raise your hand if you don't mind a piece of land given to you like that, renamed after you.
All hands are up.
New Cat.
Island? I love Ian Island.
New Jade. New
Jade.
Ian.
Oh,
New
Jade. I can vibe with that.
New Ian.
New Bamberger.
New
New Bam. Hey, I like that.
New Becker.
I like that. New Bamberger.
New Becker.
And something else. 25% of the world's gold bullion is stored in vaults under Wall Street in the Federal Reserve. 25% of the
I know,
world's gold
yeah.
Wait,
bullion
what about
is stored.
Fort Knox?
Fort-
Where does that come into play? Is that
Yeah,
like the
I
other large percentage of?
No idea.
Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure. But we know 25% is actually stored underneath in Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
And by the way, those vaults, I was told, it goes deeper than the subway. It's underneath the subway. That's how deep they are.
Interesting.
It's got to be because it
Yeah.
has to be protected.
It has to be protected.
Yeah.
Exactly. And of course, as you know, I said the world's gold bullion. Most of that gold, of course, is from overseas, and which came in before, during World War II and after World War II.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, right? Doesn't it?
Wasn't that part of the plot of Die Hard?
Was it?
Calling me stupid, but I feel like
Yeah.
that was the plot of the
But
movie.
that is
They
where
tried to
you
get the
all
gold.
Your education, right?
Sorry?
That is where you get all your education, isn't it?
Is from Die Hard
Oh,
movies,
yeah.
yes.
From movies,
Bruce
generally.
Willis and his acting.
Bruce Willis and
Exactly
his
where I
acting.
get my education.
Absolutely.
Aha.
Not a bad place to get an
Not
education.
exactly.
Not a bad place to get an education. New York, I love you. You're a sensational city. You're diverse. You're beautiful. The wonderful mixtures of cultures and languages.
You sweat.
And sweat. Hey, you know what? It's never a boring moment in New York City. We have to hand it to New York City. It's the land. It's the land of opportunity. When everybody says New York City people are rude, you can find rudeness anywhere you go.
True.
And beauty anywhere you go, not just in New York City.
Yes.
Okay. So I have to say that.
Yes.
All right. Can we talk about some news? Some
So-
top news now?
I'd like to bring in some news. First and foremost, all you Knicks fans out there, New York Knicks, Brooklyn
Yeah.
Nets. It's going to be a tough season. DeMarcus Cousins just went to the Warriors. That's 5 starting All-Stars on the Warriors, who just won 2 championships in a row. LeBron James went to the Lakers, I believe, for just over $150 million.
Peanuts. Nothing.
Peanuts.
Wow.
Peanuts.
Oh.
It's an
money.
interesting thing. For all the basketball fans, I suggest start watching some Boston Celtics, maybe some Philadelphia 76ers,
Oh,
or stay
my.
true to your,
Stay true.
your hometown Knickerbockers.
Right.
By the way,
Tell
but
you.
we're going to get to some serious news and a conversation I'd like to have because I think it's one that everyone should be thinking about. This past, I believe, recently in the city, a young woman, 17 years of age, was taking a driving course, and I believe she lost her life because an 88-year-old individual ran a red light and struck her car.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess the conversation we'd have here is, you go to the DMV, you get your license, you take the test,
Yeah.
and you have the ability to drive legally, but it's one test. you
Yeah.
know?
And
So
then
what
that's it.
That's it. So what do you do? How do you regulate this? Do you regulate it? Should it be state by state? What do we do? What do we talk about?
That poor girl. The irony of her being
right in a
Yeah.
taking
In a driving
license-
test.
In a driving test.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my
It's
gosh.
it's a shame. So what do you do? Do you pick an age? Do you pick a certain moment? Is it regularly, like every decade? Maybe?
I think it wouldn't hurt. Like maybe how you have to go in and eventually get your license updated, at least with the picture and the information every, I don't know how many years it is, but maybe you should have to take like a simple driving test, some sort of small thing just to make sure you still have your wits about you.
I agree.
I don't know. There would be definitely a lot of resistance to that though.
I
Why?
mean,
Oh, I'm sorry. Please.
no, I was going to say, well, we have to also understand that not everybody is there. They just get up and go. And they don't care if they're going to hurt somebody. They don't care if they're going to run over somebody. They don't
Yeah.
care if they're going to kill somebody. There are people with that mentality. They go hit and run. And I don't know if that's going to cure that factor.
Yeah.
That there will be someone in this world or some people in this world who will do that. Who will run you over and then leave you hanging just like
But
that.
the
And I
US
was
like a
Yes.
but then
personality
again,
thing.
a personality thing. But I understand what you're saying, Kat. I mean, I agree with you also. Maybe that would be something that would help. Will it eliminate the problem completely? We can't promise that.
Yeah.
We don't know that. See, that's the mystery. We don't know.
Well, I mean, I'd say put in some regulation. Maybe.
Yeah.
I see no harm in having to practice
Me neither.
driving every few years.
I agree with you on
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
agree with you on that. I'm with you also.
I
Yeah.
knew someone down my street, 92 years of age, was still driving around town. Try entering the Cross Bronx Expressway at 92 years old.
I mean, yeah, but
You
not
cannot
every
do that.
But not every 92-year-old is the same, right?
Yeah.
Sure, I had trouble
It's
doing
true.
it, and I consider myself
It's
a
true.
well-rounded driver.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you make a good
You know,
point.
just moving on, though, we have a person here. I believe the Autobahn is in your country, where you're originally from. You're from Germany, am I correct?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Niels,
yeah, no speed limit.
tell me about driving in Germany. How does that compare to the United States?
It's faster, but I have to go.
Oh, you have to go.
Move
Yeah,
this
really
closer.
speak into the
Closer to the
microphone.
mic.
Go ahead.
Hello.
That's
There
better.
you go.
That's a
Niels,
lot
ooh,
better.
nice, beautiful.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chamber of Resonances. Go
So
ahead.
the thing is, when I learned what the driving test was in some states in the U.S., I was kind of shocked because I think that's a whole nother
story because we have to take a certain amount of driving lessons and then go drive in actual traffic, which I don't know if that's the same in New York.
We have to go.
We have to go to traffic,
drive in
right?
traffic. We have a driving instructor, at least in New Jersey, where
Right.
I got my license.
But I heard some states, I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong.
No, go
that
for
that
it.
you just have to take a driving test on some kind of just place, like a lot, basically, where you basically just show them.
No, that's part of the
I
driving
can-
test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Then you need hours, like, to get your permit as well.
Okay, well then that sounds pretty similar, but yeah, I don't know. Driving might be the single one thing that is not safer in Germany than.
Wait, so like
That's great.
as like a young child,
boy.
how old do you have to be to get your license and drive in Germany?
Great question.
18. Yeah.
18.
Oh, see, so in the
Wow.
So
United
yeah, I think
States,
you can. But I think by now you can do it at 17, but only if you have a parent in the car with you or something.
Okay.
Well, see, I like that because your judgment is a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
if you're getting up into 17 and 18. But there are places in the U.S. where you can start driving at like 15. You can get your permit, definitely.
Like Midwestern
at
states.
15,
Yeah.
at 15?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know. I think of like my little siblings when they were 15. Wouldn't have been good.
Oh, wow.
And myself too, of course.
Oh, you're responsible, baby.
Oh, boy. Wanted to talk about the situation with NYCHA. NYCHA, there
Yeah.
has been some high levels of lead found in several NYCHA developments.
What is
It's
NYCHA?
horrible.
The New York City Housing Authority developments or projects. I live in the projects myself. I don't have lead in the apartment whatsoever, but
Very
there
good.
are a good amount of NYCHA developments where they found high levels of lead. As a matter of fact, between 2012 and 2016, there have been possibly 800 plus more children under 6 who were tested with high levels of lead.
Oh my God.
High
In
levels.
New York City.
Yes, because we're talking about particularly the projects of New York City, or Brooklyn, or
Wow.
the New York itself. Those projects.
Oh, that's so many.
Now,
kids.
also, how do we fix the problem? How do we do that? Well, supposedly, according to federal recommendations, according to officials, there is a recommendation saying that the apartment has to have 10 micrograms. Someone call and explain this to me because it sounds like a high level to me. They have to have 10 micrograms per deciliter in levels of lead in order for NYCHA to be notified and for them to come in and inspect it. They have to have that certain type of level. Otherwise, they won't inspect it. So these children have these high levels of lead, 800 plus more children between 2012 and 2016. And I'm sure it's gotten higher than that,
Yeah,
obviously.
definitely.
So they know these children are infected with this lead, but they're not going to go in the apartments to actually inspect where they live, which
yeah.
that's really, to me, I can't wrap my head around that. I can't. You have to wait for that level to get up there in order to come in and clean out the lead, which it's preposterous. I don't understand it.
It's shocking.
It's shocking. It's shocking. I'm like, these kids under 6 are suffering from all this. I mean, they're our future. Hello. I mean, let's do something about this. Let's seriously. I mean, I believe the children are our future, and that
Agreed.
song was written for a reason.
And in one of the wealthiest cities on this planet.
Yeah, that's
there's-
true.
To think that
there's
something
no
like that
reason.
would happen. This is actually new to me, Marlene.
Yes.
kind
It's
of
new,
fascinating.
yeah, because
It's open
I follow it very closely because, again, I am from the projects. I grew up in the projects, and I grew up in the Upper West Side, and very much a wonderful community, close community of people. We all know each other. We it's lots of love there, but of course there is always a minus. There are always going to be negatives to everywhere you go, and unfortunately, this is one of the things that we have to deal with: the lead situation, the mold, the broken things that need repairing. I mean, according to I was watching a New York One. I watch it quite fervently. I do. 31.8 billion is needed for NYCHA bill. I'm talking about a
Just
NYCHA
to
bill.
Yeah.
make sure this
31.8
doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's the bill.
Money's
that
there.
has to be paid in order to repair that, and that's how much.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah. And there's already, I mean, There are already issues, that people need repairs and they have to wait a long time. And the idea that you would need a high level of lead, of
a certain amount,
yeah, to get someone to come in and take a look and make sure that you're safe and your kids are safe.
What next?
Yeah.
What next?
It's really shocking.
Well, I'm sure we could delve into this later, but I do think politics, especially within this metropolis, this urban area, is shifting, and we could discuss this later on with specific votes or electoral voting periods going on right now, happening. So we'll delve into that.
Absolutely.
There's a few more pieces of news here.
Go right ahead.
Something exciting on the world stage is this soccer team that was literally stuck hundreds of feet underground in Thailand has been found.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
And they're all alive and okay.
They're all alive.
Yeah,
Run that by us one more time.
Check this out.
What you just said.
So they are 1 kilometer below a mountain in a cave. They cannot escape the cave. They cannot get out because there was a flash flood. So they were inside the cave, and this flash flood hit. So as the water started rising, they had to go deeper. And they started crawling through these tight little caverns. So I think it was either yesterday or the day before in the early hours of the morning.
Yesterday.
Our time, scuba divers finally reached them. In order for the scuba divers to get there, they had to take off their tanks. And there's a special word for this. I don't know the name, but they put the tanks either in front of them, behind them, or on their side because it's so tight to go through.
No.
So these kids cannot leave until the rain season is over, which is in 4 months, or they have to learn to scuba dive, and they don't know how to swim. So
or they're trying to somehow get the water out of the cave.
Yeah, they're trying to find other ways to get them out.
But the water out, which is insane.
I read
because
they
raining.
can survive 30 days with what they have in there.
Yeah.
So they have to find a way to get them out.
Yeah.
Or drill them out. Either way, a crazy story. Be a great movie. It's a coach and all these kids, stuck inside a cave. Crazy story. I'm thankful they're all alive, because stories like this, you gravitate towards them, you grab onto them.
I agree.
It's true.
Like the miners of Chile. When they got the same thing. They did a move. They did a film with that.
I was wondering to myself if the fact that they were a team helped them out in this situation. You can imagine people maybe who are less connected would have a harder time. But they've definitely been supporting each other and helping each other out down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have. So when they first were discovered, they were too weak to move.
Wow.
9 days with no
These
food.
poor people.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a crazy story.
Crazy story, so
we got to hope that they
thoughts
get out
and prayers
soon.
out to this,
Absolutely.
team. I hope they stick together as a team.
Right.
Their next soccer game when they get out. They can tell you.
Wow. Okay, now. So we have some rounds of chirps we'd like to share with people. What
is it about that time, Marlene?
It's about that time. Would you like to share another piece of news? Is there another piece of news you wanted to share?
We're newsed out right now, Jay.
Okay.
Let's
do some.
Let's get
some
ready
chirps.
to chirp.
Some chirps now.
All right. So we're gonna start at the chirps with me.
Okay.
The first chirp of the night. This is Ronnie from Queens. Ronnie from Queens. If you're listening to this video, went to my very first summer stage in Central Park and even caught fireflies at dusk while attempting to find my way out. Oh, wow. Hashtag love New York summer. Hashtag love Central Park, Ronnie Queens. Ronnie, I have several things to say to you. One, you're a beautiful man.
You're a beautiful man.
For embracing this ridiculous inferno of a season we have right now. I'm sweating walking to the subway, and this man is catching fireflies.
Oh, that's so
it's
sweet.
Beautiful.
Or a woman,
That's
I don't know.
beautiful.
Ronnie could be either
either
sex or gender. Beautiful, Ronnie. We love it, man.
Thank you, Ronnie. That was
Keep it
wonderful.
going.
That was wonderful. Fabulous. Hey, you want to take the next one?
Sure. So I wish I could read the name. Can you help me here, Ian?
That's Sphinx.
Sphinx, that's what it says.
All right.
Yeah.
Sphinx from Fide
From
Eye.
Fide. All right, so that's
What
right
up,
here.
Sphinx?
So, on the F train, that is a risky business right there. On the F train, just saw two tourists who didn't know each other sit next to each other in silence. Realized they both had the same exact camera, high-five each other, and start talking to each other. They had mutual connections in Canada and Switzerland.
What?
Hashtag
Wow.
only in NY. Hashtag I love NYC. Hashtag it's a small world in New York.
A small
Oh,
world.
I love it.
indeed.
That truly is a small
Yes.
world.
So
Small
it
world
started
indeed.
silent. They started engaging in conversation.
Yeah.
And through this technological
Love
Yeah,
age,
right.
connection.
they know
Camera.
Oh my
this
God.
digital
it's true.
renaissance. They know what's going
Right,
on.
a camera brought them together. How romantic!
Yeah.
Thank you, dear
Romantic.
camera. You're
That
gorgeous.
is a
We love.
meet cute. If you ever heard of one.
And who was that, Niels?
Don't make me say it again.
Sphinx,
Sphinx.
Sphinx.
Mr. Fide-Eye.
Sphinx,
Love it.
Sphinx, Sphinx. All right, go ahead, girl.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
so Shavana in Brooklyn. I am sorry to hear this, okay? Shavana was stuck underground for 20 minutes on my way to the doctor, who told me I had a yeast infection of the skin from sweating on said subway.
Wait, what?
Oh,
Yes.
Wow.
And Shavana, we're sorry. And you cannot be the only one.
Wait.
With the way the weather has been.
You can get a yeast infection on your skin?
Apparently, it happened.
I thought
What
that
were
only
you
happens
thinking?
like down
Oh.
under. I'm sorry, I have to acknowledge this stuff.
It's not just for baking.
The benefit of the
Yeast is
people.
not just for
Oh,
baking.
you're right, for bread.
Yeast is not just for baking. We have, we got to be careful down there. We got to really be careful.
Yeah, it's
Jeez
true.
Louise.
But yeah, no, just from sweating on the subway, which, there are a lot of people sweating on the subway. So,
You can
you know,
cut your work.
pray for all of us.
You can actually work out lesser time, and sweat faster in the summer,
It's
which
so
is
true.
great.
Yeah, it's true.
You know. Okay.
Thank you for your chirp, Shavana.
Thank you, Shavana.
Thank you, Shavana. You're wonderful. This one's from Jessica. Jessica from Brooklyn Heights. Here is your chirp. Ready, Jessica? All right, here we go. 99% sure that one of my fellow commuters on the subway had a dirty diaper. Had a dirty diaper on, and we're all delayed. Like, good morning, New York City. Smell me, okay? Thank you, Jessica.
Now, who's wearing the diaper? A baby or one of these senior citizens we're talking about?
We don't know. That
Or-
is a mystery. Fellow commuters could
Or
be.
your age.
Could be me.
It
I
could
don't wear
be.
diapers. I don't wear diapers on.
I don't know, unless you have a weak bladder. I mean,
If
I don't
you
know.
have
If
a-
Some people
weak
do.
bladder.
Or if
than
you
a
have
weak
a
bladder.
very severe yeast infection. Maybe.
Oh my God.
With
You
a
heard
weak,
it from Niels.
with a weak
Nick.
bladder. With a weak bladder,
oh my
right?
God, it goes full
Oh,
circle.
plus you're sweating. Plus you're falling in love with a camera.
Yeah, right.
A camera falls in love with you. Or you. Well, you know what I mean. Okay. Next chirp.
Oh, we're gonna keep moving here. Hold up. This is from Katie from the Upper West Side. And Katie has to say this. Or Katy, however you say it. I'm gonna go with Katie. She says, listening to tourists in New York City call artisan gelato, quote, ice cream, makes my headache worse. And this is how I know I'm officially an East Coast snob. Interesting. I would actually be part of the group thinking that artisan gelato is still ice cream.
Yeah.
What is the difference between gelato and ice cream? Can someone enlighten me here?
Gelato, isn't it fruit-based?
I think
It's ice cream.
It's ice cream.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's ice cream.
Thank you. We got popular support here for ice cream, but Katie, we love you still.
You didn't hear me. Oh, okay. You didn't hear me. Sorry about that. I can be heard now. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, Katie, gelato's ice cream's gelato. Ipso facto, we move on.
Me move on.
All right, we move on to Kevin from Long Island. He says, listen. So are you listening? I may be wrong here, but I just don't think it's that hard to not walk into someone standing still against a wall at Penn Station. So why was this just done to me? Hashtag numbskulls in NYC. Well, I guess Penn Station is one of the worst places, though, to stand still.
Has that happened to you? Have you been knocked into?
Yes, many times.
Yeah.
Every morning I commute to the L. You know, I can just like look at my phone for like a split second, and I'm sacked. I'm almost sacked, like a football sack. You know, it's terrible.
So the remedy is walk and you won't get bumped into. If you stand next to something, you'll get bumped into,
Yeah, you
right?
just have to let
walk
the-
and don't let anybody
let it
bump
all
into
take-
you. That's it, right?
It's true throughout all of New York, I'd say.
I hear that.
All right.
So
Next chirp.
before I read this one, how would you say this name?
Lilia.
Oh, okay. Lilia from Astoria. Lilia says, I walked home through Woodside to Astoria last night. Apparently, I was walking through the Dictionary of Diversity. All kinds of interesting and beautiful people along the way. The president, Trump, should see this. Hashtag lovely. I love NY.
I like Dictionary of
so
Diversity. That could be
I
a
love
song
that.
name, a band.
Dictionary
It's
of Diversity.
gorgeous.
That's a nice
It's
line.
Beautifully
beautiful.
worded. yeah.
Copyright. Who said that?
Lilia.
Of
Lilia.
Astoria. Lilia,
I'm
you're a
taking
poet.
your words, baby. Okay.
Dictionary. Oh, ammunition for Ian.
No.
All right,
Oh.
brand new song. Write it tonight. Dictionary of Diversity, honey. You gotta write it. I'm serious. This thing is driving me crazy. It really is. My God,
got
Jay,
your
thank
back.
you. You're the best. We love you. We're the best. We love
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Marlene, do we have anything else?
Yes, Sherry, Harlem. This is for you, Sherry from Harlem. Seriously? A stroller on a rush hour number 2 train? For a dog?
Oh, God.
I just can't anymore. I just can't anymore. Hashtag I love animals, but hashtag ridiculous people. Okay, thank you, Sherry from Harlem. Thank
I
you.
love it. Oh, my God.
All right, you got a point, Sherry.
That's a point. I think that's a point.
Yeah.
I thought
That
there was
is-
a baby in there, but there
I
was
mean,
a dog.
there's a dog in there, but seriously? It's like carrying a huge backpack, going inside the subway, inside the train, everybody's crowded, and you have this back thing,
Yeah.
this big mamma jamma hanging in back of you. Put your damn bag down. Hello. Okay? We don't need an extra body in back of you. Put it down and let's go. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Gotta make space.
Gotta make it common sense. All right. Any other chirps? Anybody
I
else?
think that's it. I think we're going to hit it with a little live music. Oh, does Kat,
Oh, Kat, you have another one.
Kat,
Go ahead,
hit
Kat.
it.
Go,
Hit
go,
it,
go,
girl.
Kat. Go.
beautiful woman.
Go, Kat.
Oh, no. Okay, here we go.
Go.
This is from Lamar. Lamar says, dude is straight up whittling a penis on the train. Pocket knife and stick. Now I've seen it all in 44 years of living.
Aw.
That's a good one to end
never
on.
seen that.
It's good.
That is really unusual.
Harvey.
What he's whittling it for?
Oh, don't ask questions like that.
No, that you don't. Oh, my God.
You never know.
All right. New song to sing. What's the song this time, Ian?
So this is a song. I'm going to bring this camera over here. This is a song I wrote with one of our fabulous guests, Niels Becker. This is called Be My Love. It's off my last EP.
Work.
And, I just want to give a shout out to everyone listening here. And once again, Patrick, we miss you. The
We
King
love
of
you.
Chirp. We love you. We love you. We miss you. And I'm scared. I'm just scared. I'm kidding. I'm not scared.
Mommy, please. Mommy!
This is Be My Love. My next show is July 5th, House of Independence, Asbury Park. Love to see you there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Love is such a crazy thing, I didn't know what it means till I met you. Long ago, you packed your bags, walked up the stairs, and looked as though you didn't care. Then I saw you. How could you know fate was waiting just across the hall? Oh yeah. Our first look turned into a smile. I say, can I be with you a while? My love,
Ooh,
baby, be my love.
oh, yeah. Ooh. Yeah, my love, my love, my love.
Watched the sun till it was gone. Talked all night, the break of dawn always came too soon. And if it rained, we didn't mind, 'cause we could hide inside and get to know all the dreams that we ever had were lying straight ahead. turned into a mile. I say, can I be with you a while?
A while.
My love, baby, be my love. Our footsteps turned into a mile. I say, can I be with you a while? My love, baby, be my love. Baby, be my love.
Yay!
Yes.
So we're gonna keep rolling with the show. That was Be My Love. Big shout out to Niels Becker, a guest we're gonna talk to very soon.
Yes, Neil.
Yes,
But
Neil.
before we get there, let's bring in some education here and introduce Kat Geithman.
Cat.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yes, it's going great. It's great to be on the show.
So yeah, we have a few questions for you. We brought you in just to pick at your mind. But as one of the people who is going to enter, I guess the spectrum of law,
The field of
the
law.
field of law, that whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to hear about it.
Yeah. Well, first I want to ask you.
Yeah.
You're in law school now, correct?
Yes, I have 1 year left.
And which school again?
NYU Law.
NYU Law.
Mhm.
Wow. So it's a 4-year.
3 years.
3 years actually.
Yeah.
3 years.
Thankfully.
Why did I think it was longer than that? Maybe it depends on the law that you're studying. That it would take more years, maybe, or is it?
And I know some programs, like if you were to work and go at night, that can take longer.
Wow.
But I've been going. Luckily, I'm able to go full time. So
full time.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
Okay, so what inspired you to become a lawyer? What was your inspiration to do that?
Well, I've always been interested in it, and then after I in college, I focused on political science and psychology, and I've found, that the law sort of exists in both of those realms. Like, you have to understand the people that you're working with, whether you're in court with them or if you're across the table negotiating with them. You need to understand them a little bit. That's going to get you the best outcome for your client. And then I got to work, and I worked at a firm right out of college. I worked at a bank as a paralegal. It did not dissuade me. And so that was how I knew. As every boss along the way told me, they were like, if you can work as a legal assistant or a paralegal and still want to go to law school,
That's really
it's for
good.
you. So that was a good,
Wow.
a good indication.
Pretty soon you passing the bar, right?
I will have to take the bar next year. So
Next year.
think of me then.
Think of me kindly.
Yes.
All right. Very good. So, what is it that you wanted to speak to us about concerning a better balance? I know you mentioned that earlier, better balance.
Yes. So there's an organization called A Better Balance in New York, and their basic mission is that they want to promote the idea that people should be able to work and also have families in New York. And so that's the law that they're promoting. And they also have a free legal hotline for people. So I definitely encourage folks who have any questions. I should say, I am not a lawyer, so nothing I say today is legal advice, just so you know. But you can call these people
Yes.
and get real legal advice if you need it. But I wanted to talk about a law that they were promoting and helped get passed, because there have been 2 recent updates, one in May and one coming in July. And it's pretty widely applicable. So the law is called Earned Safe and Sick Time Act, and it was passed in 2014.
Wow, recently.
Yeah, so
Too
it's
long ago.
So I think some people don't even know this law exists, and it's out there. And if you know about it, then you can, you know your rights and you know what you're entitled to. So basically, what this does is it says that people who work in New York, and that's pretty much all of New York. There's a couple exceptions for people it doesn't apply to. Should be able to take 40 hours of sick time in a year, paid sick time, and that's to recover from illness. That's either physical or mental illness, if you need medical treatment, or if you need to care for a family member. And then the big update in May, which I think is pretty cool, is that you can use this time also for what they call safe time. So if you need to meet with a lawyer or a social worker for some reason, or if you have a family member who's involved in a situation with domestic violence or anything else where they feel threatened, then you can take this time and you're entitled to it in New York. So that's pretty cool. And that's unprecedented. I don't think we've had a law like that before.
But it hasn't been voted in yet? Or
It has, yeah.
It has?
This was as of May 5th, 2018. This has gone through. Yeah.
That's fast. That's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
Very progressive.
Yeah.
First state in the union that's doing this.
I don't know that, but New York is often on the forefront of these things, so that might be a good guess. Yeah. Beautiful. And you can't be fired if you take this time, which I think, a lot of people worry, if I take that sick day, is my boss going to come up with a reason to fire me? And this law helps protect you. So I think that's really important. And then the sick time part of it, this also changed in May, so this is pretty cool. You can take that sick time to care for any blood relative. So that includes like your aunts, your cousins, anyone else you could name or think of. Blood relatives.
Uh-huh.
But then also, and this is also very progressive, any other individual whose close association with you is the equivalent of a family relationship.
Oh, that's beautiful. Like
That's
a goddaughter, or godfather, godmother. It could be that and that.
Yes.
Wow.
A friend you've lived with for years. I
Yeah.
mean, we all, the way it isn't, people have these long-standing relationships. They live with people to make housing affordable. You develop strong connections. You want to be able to look out for those people if they get sick and they need you.
And they're the only person. You're the only person they have.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes complete total sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is wonderful. And then, so logistics, you will earn 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. So that's pretty great. It kicks in once you've been working for 120 days. So you do have to put in a little time at your employer, but the sick time's accruing while you're there.
Do all companies enact this?
Yeah, if you have 5 or more employees, this law applies to you. So that's almost everybody, which is pretty good. Like I said, there's a couple exceptions. I wasn't going to read them all, but if you are wondering, you can always call A Better Balance and find out. And then the last thing I wanted to say that's changing in July is that as of July 18th, so in a minute, basically, you will have the right under a separate law to take 2 additional unpaid job-protected days off per year. So that can be to take care of a child, to help someone that you live with who maybe has a disability or needs to go to court or anything like that. So it's unpaid, but your job is protected when you take these days. So these are great developments in New York. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. For the last one you just read, how many days would that be again? How many days?
2
just
days.
2 days?
Yeah, 2 additional unpaid job protected days. So that's in addition to your sick time.
Wow.
Yeah. So that kicks in middle of this month.
That's
wow.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's great. And there's, there are a lot more resources on the A Better Balance website. They're doing great things. And it's good to know that you have a resource. You have someone you could call if you have questions about what's happening in your workplace and what your rights are. So.
And before we take a quick commercial break, just remind us, where can we find this and keep ourselves updated?
If you just Google A Better Balance, or if you go to www.abetterbalance.org, you can find these resources. They also have a handy dandy Know Your Rights, especially for women. They have a little handbook you can print, so you can even have that in your purse or in the office with you. It's great.
You hear that, women?
Yeah.
Me too, darling. Me too. Hello.
Thank you. We'll be right back with the great Niels Becker. In the meantime, here's a message from our sponsors.
Hi, folks. This is Ed Lemo. Who is Ed Lemo and why should I listen? Ed Lemo is an attorney that is unique in that he gives consumers good, solid information about the law that will help protect them against irresponsible drivers, landowners, and doctors and hospitals who are negligent and cause you harm. Ed Lemo has been representing individuals against insurance companies since 1984. Ed Lemo limits his practice to accident, injury, and medical malpractice claims. You can find out more about me at my website at www.lemolaw.com. That's www.lemolaw.com, or you can reach me at 646-522-9082. So if you're injured in an accident or a victim of malpractice and you need a trial attorney who has experience in the courtroom and gets results, call Ed Lemo at 646-522-9082, or you can reach me at edwardlemo@yahoo.com. Or you can go to my website for further information, www.lemolaw.com. You'll be glad you did. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. Once again, thank you, Kat. Catherine Geithman, for giving us the news, giving us the info, what we needed to hear.
No problem. Anytime.
All right. I'd like to welcome, Marlene and I would like to welcome, and Pat, who's not here, would like to welcome Niels Becker. How's it going?
Hey, Niels Becker.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Phenomenal guitar player. Before you dig in, we'd just like to ask you a few questions. Is that
Go
cool?
ahead. Yeah.
Learn more about you.
Can't
Yeah.
wait to hear your questions.
Oh, yeah.
You're blushing, darling. You're blushing. He's turning red.
You can see that
A little
through
bit
my
red, a little
beard.
pink,
I
a little.
don't know.
I
How
see
do
it.
you know?
He's so modest. You're so modest, darling. Don't be so modest. Okay. Anyway, so Niels, tell us more. How did you meet Ian? Tell me about the relationship between you and Ian. How did that start?
Ian and I met in a songwriting class at NYU, actually,
Ooh.
where actually I was a TA on the class.
I was a young Padawan.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Ian was my young student.
Oh, that's so
yeah,
cool.
he had no idea basically before he met me.
So awesome. That is so cool.
You taught him everything he knows.
Did you teach him too much now? Too much music. Too much music. Okay, but anyway, so you said NYU. That's great. That's awesome. And so tell us about your background and where you studied, your inspirations in music and all that.
So I am from Germany, as we talked about the Autobahn before, and yeah, I basically used the songwriting program at NYU, which is a great program. Was my way to get here. I had been to New York once, and since I had been there, I knew that I wanted to be there for longer.
Beautiful.
And so I did my master's in songwriting, which made sense because I come from a guitar playing background. I did my undergrad in guitar, and then I wanted to focus on songwriting since that was really, I think, what sparked the whole music idea in me in the first place. I don't know, I have some early memories of my mom's Bob Dylan greatest hits record at home.
Wow, that's awesome. So flashes of your life.
Yes.
Of the early, the early years. Niels Becker early years.
Yep.
Okay.
That'll be your greatest hits album. A few years down the
Well,
line.
yeah, I hope there will be one to inspire young kids one day.
Beautiful.
So Niels, who are your inspirations in music, would you say? Who inspires you besides Bob Dylan? Who else would you say who inspired you musically?
So one of the other very early inspirations was Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits, actually.
Sultans of Swing is like
Yep.
what everyone knows.
Right. So that was very early on, and then I had a connection with that when I was a teenager. I just rediscovered that music, and let me think. I went through a whole jazz period that never ends, obviously.
Yeah.
And then
Rightfully so.
and then I had a big time in my life where I actually was into popular stuff like John Mayer, and then since the whole, I would say, Americana kind of music always for some reason really resonated with me. So since I moved here, I discovered a whole lot of more people like Jason Isbell and Chris Stapleton, of course.
Yes.
Who are
he's
album
Album
Wow.
Traveler.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
exactly. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of time here, so I'd say let's dig in.
All right.
Show us what you got.
Show us what you got.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right. All right, I'm gonna play a song that you can find wherever you listen to music, basically. Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, I don't know, Deezer. That's
That
called.
exists.
Let's
the
hear
song's
it.
called "Walk This Road Alone."
Yes.
Let's do it.
The moon tonight won't let me sleep. Would you share a drink with me? I have some time to make this bar my home. Please don't get me wrong, you see, I appreciate some company, but I am here to walk this road alone. I am here to walk this road alone. Birds and trees and factories painted with an evening breeze.